What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Game Time Podcast. We are coming to you live with live reactions from after Game 2 of the NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder tie it up as we head back to Indiana. Final score 123 to 107. The Thunder, in dominating fashion, take home Game 1. It's me and Daryl once again. A lot of recording we've had to do today, but
Yeah, you ain't kidding, right?
we're getting it done because we love what we do. We love this podcast, and um, we're gonna break it all down for you. Maybe not as energetic as Game 1
Oh,
because
we
obviously.
know we gotta bring that energy,
Well,
man.
I mean, we'll bring it a
We gotta
little
bring
bit.
that energy.
It may not be. It won't be positive in the way of Indiana, but we're gonna see how it goes. I was tweeting during the game, and then I was in and out. I was talking to some friends as well. After the first quarter, I thought it was a pretty good game, and I thought it was an interesting game. Neither team was hot yet. Um, it was an interesting start to the game. I said interesting first quarter, pretty even here at the start, in my opinion. But I will say Chet is being more aggressive. Pacers need something from Siakam. Siakam did not play well really this whole game, and it was pretty interesting. He wasn't playing well from the start, but Chet was way more aggressive in this game than he was in Game 1. The next tweet I had was basically just going over the offense. You know, I think it was middle of the second quarter, Pascal and Tyrese had combined for 6 points at that point, and the Thunder were on a 9-0 run. And after that, I kind of just stopped tweeting, and I started watching a game from the 2013 Eastern Conference Finals, Pacers and Heat. I added you in the tweet. I don't know if you saw it, but
Yeah, I saw it. I
I
saw it.
took my mind.
I was coaching, man. I was trying to get my boys back in the game.
I had to get my mind off that. It was a frustrating watch, to say the least. It kind of reminded me of watching the Lakers versus the Nuggets the last 2 years, where we just couldn't seem to get anything to go, but then the Nuggets would come down and drive and score. Very frustrating game, and I think it goes back to what we said about Boston, Daryl. Is this team is going to shoot threes, right? That's their bread and butter. Everyone's going to yell at them to drive to the cup, but at that point, there wasn't a time tonight where I said, "Oh, go to the paint, go to the paint." It's like because for me, it's like they're not going to do it, right? I mean, some of them are going to go to the paint, but they're just not. They're going to shoot the three, and that's okay. But there's that proverbial punch in the mouth that I expected in Game 1 that didn't happen, but it did happen tonight. Oklahoma City was just on fire on all types of the floor. Aaron Wiggins out of nowhere. Alex Caruso played really well. I mean, all around tonight, the Thunder just came to play. And look, Halliburton got his points, but he got garbage time points in the fourth quarter. I love how unselfish he is, but there was too many extra passes tonight. Too many extra passes. There's too many. When we have people going to the basket and kicking it out and knowing, and then OKC gets there to cover that shooter. At that point, you might as well just take the layup and get fouled. There was a lot of points tonight where it just felt like this team did not want to drive in on OKC. And I understand they can swat the ball away and stuff like that. And I even made a tweet. I'm like, I was getting a little frustrated with the foul calls in the second half, but I even put in my tweet, there's no point for me to get mad because they have already shot themselves in the foot. Because if this game was close, I don't think we would see those calls as bad as they were towards the bottom of the game. Because there was some rough calls at the end, but it didn't even matter because the Pacers were just playing so egregious in the last three quarters. I mean, the first quarter I thought they did well, and then they just let it go the second, third, and fourth quarter. I'm not going to really blame coaching. I think the bench was out for a long time in some stretches. Other than that, I really have no issue with the bench. I think at the end of the day, this falls on your two stars, Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, and the way they play tonight. Halliburton has to be more aggressive scoring because this is the result of that. And now you have to go play a game 3. This Pacers team has not won a game 3 yet in these playoffs. Obviously, that's a stat that you can take and not care about, which I kind of don't. But at the same time, it does not bode well for this Pacers team because we talked about oh, maybe this OKC team's going to be rattled heading into game 2. No, they came with a chip on their shoulder. So now what will Indiana do going into game 3 in their home floor? Will they be rattled, or are they going to play basketball like we know how this team knows how to play? Because this was an embarrassment tonight, and it was a punch in the mouth, and now you've given this young OKC team all the confidence in the world heading into your floor.
Well, I humbly disagree with you from the perspective of this is a punch in the mouth, and it was a terrible performance. I mean, to tell you why, right? So you've got the best team in the league from start to finish in the regular season. You got a team that has the MVP. You got 18,000 screaming fans. Players have said from last game, loudest away crowd they've had all year, right? So you can't expect those guys to lay down. You know, they've got a lot to fight for over there. You know, there's talk about them sweeping. There was talk about them just dominating from start to finish, pillar to post. And so when the Pacers came into the game tonight, you knew that they had to play their best game, right? And they played pretty well in the first quarter. Fell off in the second quarter and in the third quarter going into the fourth quarter. But there's a couple of things here. What hit me, you know, OKC shot 88% from the line. They shot 29 to 33. Okay, they got to the basket. The other part of that is the Pacers shot 14 of 40 from three. They shot 43s. I would be, and I don't know this for sure, but I'd bet you 35 of those threes were in the first three quarters. You know, when I bested you earlier, I said they're playing a different offense at the start of the game. They were playing at 5 out. It looked like they were hunting 3-point shots at the beginning of the game because it looks like they were looking for diving at the basket. If that wasn't available, shoot the three, right? On an offensive end. It wasn't working, right? They hit a couple threes early in the game, and then in that late first quarter, going in the second quarter, they didn't, the old proverbial lid on the basket, right? And those things happen, right? I'm not so concerned with that, but here are the things that bother me. When OKC was on offense, Shea splitting the defense when they're high on the high screen and roll. He split it time and time and time again, and either A got to the cup or B hit an open guy because of the late rotations, right? I didn't like that piece. The other part is I didn't like the fact, we talked about the OKC Thunder being handsy in the first game. They were twice as handsy in this game, especially with Caruso. He's playing really physical with his hands on those high screens. They're grabbing a little bit. Pacers do it too, so it's not just they're doing it and the Pacers don't. But they got away with a little bit of that, and it frustrated the high screener in that first half, right? And I think that kind of carried on a little bit. That doesn't mean that's why the Pacers lost. Pacers lost because OKC played better tonight. We got to just call it like it is. But what you got to do is regroup. And I'm not one of those that say, well, at least you came away with a split. No, I expected 2-0 leaving OKC. That's what you want, right? To that part, you talked about Tyrese and Pascal. One of the things about Tyrese is he's not the type of guy or player that's going to come out and just start going in crazy unless it's something like that, like that New York Knicks game. I think it was game 3, if I remember right. No, I'm lying. I'm not lying. It wasn't game. It was game 4 when the Pacers blew him out. The thing for me is I don't have a problem with him trying to get other players involved. I really don't. I don't. What I want him to do though is make the open shot when it's there for him, and I don't want him to get himself caught in the air on an indecisive play. Just be decisive. I don't need you taking 15 shots in the first half, Tyrese. Be decisive and look at game 4 against the Knicks as a blueprint of what we need you to do as a Pacer fan and as the Pacers organization, right? I don't know that he's going to be that guy that's going to start from the jump and just continue to just smash, smash, smash. I don't think he's that type of guy, and I'm okay with that. But to your point, Pascal's got to be able to play better in those times where we need him on the offensive end because we love, no, not me. Many love to knock Miles. Miles played his ass off tonight.
Yep.
Chet Holmgren cannot guard him. I'm saying it now. He can't guard him. He had him on the 3. He had him on the post. He can't guard him. Because he's not big enough, And when Miles is determined, tonight Miles was determined. He's clapping his players up. He's clapping his teammates up. He's playing hard, but he's got to get someone to get him in a position to score, right? Mm-hmm. He's not bringing the ball up and doing it himself. I'm going to tell you, Miles played ball tonight, and I'm proud of the way he played. I look forward to game 3 on Wednesday night, and I'm gonna tell you now, I look for the Pacers, to win, not comfortably necessarily, but I don't think the game is going to be some type of defensive juggernaut that everybody's talking about with regard to OKC and how they play defense. It's going to be called tighter, and I tell you that those fans, they've got something to prove when we talk about OKC's fans being the loudest.
Yeah, I do disagree a little bit on the Tyree stuff. I agree he's got to
Okay,
be decisive, but you can't wait till the fourth quarter to take these floaters. That floater is automatic. The same way Shai's turnaround mid range is automatic, that floater for him's automatic. He's got to do that floater more. I'm not asking him to shoot. I That's great that he's decisive, but a lot of these tonight did result in misses, and I know most of the time those will drop. This is just one of those nights that didn't drop. But in this, I think this is where all that debate comes in. When the team is down and you need somebody to score, if you're the guy, and people have came at me with this too, and I've said, okay, that's not his style. But tonight is one of those instances where because in the other instances where people have told me this, the Pacers aren't down by much, and everyone else around them
right.
are hitting shots. Tonight is one of those instances where nobody else could hit other than Miles, and he still wouldn't shoot. And I get it. I get what he was trying to do, but at some point, you're the highest paid player on the team, and you're in superstar talks. You've got to perform. You've got to perform like it. People can say he's not. People can say he's a
No,
star, but
I'm. That's not the debate part for me. We talk about him being a superstar. There was no talk about him being a superstar in the regular season in any way, shape, or form. This guy's played hellified basketball in the playoffs. I'm gonna tell you this: he hasn't surpassed Reggie Miller from the perspective of playoff basketball. Reggie Miller was never looked at as a superstar. So why are we looking at Tyrese Halliburton as a superstar? That's my point, right? I'm not. This isn't anything degrading towards him. It's just it's an every night thing. It's a LeBron thing. It's a KD thing. It's a Jokic thing. And that's no knock on Tyrese saying he's not a superstar. And I don't follow with the screaming A Smith thing. But let's just play. Just play. It'll come, man. Why we're such in a rush to crown a guy as something. Just let it happen naturally. We don't have to push it and force the issue. Because again, to your point, if he was a superstar, he would have started in the first quarter with that.
hey,
He's not. I'm okay with him not being there yet.
I'll
He's
take the super.
25 years old.
Then I'll take the superstar thing out of my sentence. If you're going to be the top guy on this team, I'm not asking him to some sometimes Shea doesn't get out of the gate. I'm not saying he has I get it. But in this instance where nobody else could score, that floater at the end of the fourth or in the whole fourth, he then wants to shoot this floater and it's frustrating, and everyone on Twitter saying the same thing. But I'm just going to talk about from my perspective.
Right.
It's frustrating to watch him hit that floater 5 times in the fourth quarter and not do it at all in the game. But we're going to take a 29-foot 3-pointer close to the logo with 22 seconds on the shot clock. There's just instances in this game tonight where I was really left confused on what we were truly doing, not what the Pacers were truly doing
Well,
on the floor tonight.
I think it's time and circumstance, man. I mean, those floaters came because Oklahoma City had relaxed a bit as well. Let's call it like it is. They weren't as aggressive in that fourth quarter as they were in their first two quarters, even in going in the third quarter. And that happens. That happens,
Yep.
right? And
Yeah.
and I'm not even opposed to that. My only concern for far as the Pacers and where is their psyche after going in having a 6 point deficit in the first quarter, and then it was like a 16-2 run, and then it was a 15-1 run, and the Pacers came back with a 10-0 spurt themselves to bring the game within 13. A little bit of back and forth, right? That's a part of the NBA game, right? We can't get too high and too low. And from my perspective, is this: I expected the Thunder to come out fighting. They did.
Yep.
The Pacers, maybe, you got the cliche. They didn't match their energy, all the old cliches you can use. They looked as though they said all the right things after the game. We want to be greedy. We're not satisfied. All those things. They didn't come into the game and start off like they weren't satisfied. I'm just and when that in that second quarter, I'm not saying they gave up or anything like that, but they kind of they were like, okay, let's just play and see what happens. Maybe it's just because they've been there before and they've been behind before, and they said, well, you know what, we're going to come back again. Maybe that's a part of it as well. But I'm not going to get too down on the Pacers after tonight's performance. There's a lot of good things you take away. You take away Miles. You take away the fact that you got an OKC team who's highly energetic, and we still stuck in there with them. We didn't get the doors blown off. There wasn't a 40-point loss like they did against Denver, or double like they did against Minnesota. You stayed in there and you fought. They fought to the end. And that's what I take from this. It's 1-1. Yeah, I'd rather it be 2-0. Pacers coming back home, but 1-1, I can live with that. But what I'll tell you this: Wednesday night's game is going to be pivotal. It's going to be pivotal, and I tell you what, the Bankers Life Fieldhouse crowd's going to be ready to roll.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a pivotal, and like I said, the stat of they haven't won a game three yet. I don't think that matters too much. Obviously, is it something to look at? And if you're a little concerned, that's fine. Be a little concerned. But I don't know. This is probably the one instance where we definitely are looking at this different. And
That's
I view
okay.
I view it as. I don't know. I'm usually the same as you. I'm like, okay, this is what Tyrese does. He's a pass first point guard, stuff like that. But I think tonight was one of those rare instances for me where nobody else was hitting, and I just wanted to see him not shoot the three because that was not going well tonight at all. Which I get. It's like Boston. They're gonna keep shooting threes, and that's fine. But for him, that floater works. It goes in a lot of the time when nothing else will drop. His floater usually works. It takes me right back to the play-in tournament against the Lakers where he would not shoot, but when he did, it was going in, but he wouldn't shoot it that often. So that's all I'm saying. And I get it. Tonight was one of those nights. It's happened in the Cleveland series. It's happened in the Milwaukee. It's happened
Yeah,
once each
yeah.
series, which is fine.
All season
Yeah.
long too. During the season, he had those games where he said, "Man, what happened?" But
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
because he. I don't want to agree with anybody that's on these networks, but it happens, man. It,
Yeah.
it happens, and I'm just not over the top about it, regarding him, right? The guy played, but here's what I saw different tonight at the end of the game versus that Knicks game in Game 5. He was on the bench pissed.
Tyrese.
He was on
Yeah.
the bench pissed. He,
Yeah.
he was shaking his head. He put his head down his hand like we missed this
Nemhard
opportunity.
Nemhard looked mad too.
You know,
And
and that's okay, right? So, how do you come out on Wednesday? That's what
And
matters.
he said it after game one, and because the Pacers posted it on socials. We didn't even play our best yet. Well, you didn't. Well, if you thought that was
Right.
bad, it got a whole lot worse tonight. So
I wouldn't say that. Look,
what are you gonna do when you
turnovers.
go back to Gamebridge?
15 turnovers versus 24 or
That's
25.
fair, but
Right.
when you
Well,
go back to
I'm
those
just saying.
turnovers, most of those weren't his fault. That was Obi,
I'm talking about
Nemhard, and
team,
a couple others.
but see, I'm talking team wise. I'm not talking about
No,
this
I get what
guy
you're
had this
saying. I
week.
get what you're saying.
And then the other piece is that is, OKC hit shots tonight that they missed the other night.
Yep.
That mattered as well too. I think the Pacers played pretty good defense. But talk about urgency. They knew they had to have this game,
Yeah.
and you can sit there and say, "Well, we're going to come in and fight. We're going to be ready." When that comes and that home team is down 0-1, the prohibitive favorite, they're going to have a little bit of extra juice.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that juice with them tonight, to start the first half. That happens, right? But
Mm-hmm.
how do you bounce back? You talk about Pacers having lost, a game two all playoffs. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, there's another team on the side that hadn't lost two games in a row either.
Yeah, and I think
So some
what
had to give,
what
right?
favors the Pacers is the Thunder are not the best road team, and they have shown that in these playoffs. Obviously, like I said, we can throw stats because stats matter, but they also kind of don't.
Right,
It's a
right,
game
right.
of it's a
It
game
can
of
cloud.
50-50.
It
But
can cloud
I
things.
I think I think tonight, obviously, it was one of those games. I understand that, but at the end of the day, we are the media, and you know what? And I get it, and like I said, this is probably the one time where I feel a different way than I usually do when this team loses. Usually, I'm the one where it's like it happens, but I think tonight, and maybe with it even being the finals, it's just it stings a little more than it ever would against in the Eastern Conference Finals or in
It's
or in the other
yes,
rounds.
it's more urgency because you
Yes.
realize now there's only 5 games left in your season, good,
Yep.
bad, or indifferent, right?
Yep.
So yeah, to that point, you're right. But with that said, you got a coach in the Pacers locker room right now who's been in championship games as a player,
Yep.
has coached in one, two, I think 4 final series. I think Dallas, Detroit. Oh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
He also
Dallas,
won. He also won the title everyone says was the hardest one ever in the league.
The
So
Dallas,
yeah, the Dallas one. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
but also was and he was at Detroit, somewhere else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But my point, he's been there, done that. So I promise you, he's not out there kicking trash cans
Mhm.
and flipping out. And if you do that, your players lose confidence in you,
Yeah.
right? You've been cool all year. Just play ball.
Play
Stick to
ball.
what you do, right? But like I said, like I texted you, they were looking. It's like they were hunting threes at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were trying to open up OKC's defense to get to the lane. I don't know if they were just saying, "Listen, we're going to shoot threes and see if we can loosen them up," because OKC did the same thing.
Yeah.
Pacers are driving, they're swapping, they're swiping, they're swiping. And again, OKC deserved this game. They
Yeah.
won the
They
game. They
played it,
took the game.
and we're not giving enough. We haven't talked about them enough in this, but I think what we're talking about with Indiana is a testament to how well OKC
Yeah,
played
those
tonight.
guys ball out.
Because you
Those
look at
river
what
guys
Shea did
play
in game
ball.
one, it's similar to this game, except the only difference is everybody else on the stat sheet showed up tonight. And like I said, I'm giving I give props to Chet Holmgren because I personally said something about him in game one where I said he did not show up, and he has nights where he'll give you six or whatever, and then he'll give you a nice double double, and that's what he did tonight. He came out and he was and even in the early minutes, I texted you and I
15 and
said,
6. 15 and
I,
6 is what he finished with. Yep.
I told you, and I said, and I texted you early in the first, he came out way more aggressive than he did in game one, and his shots were hitting. He didn't shoot well in game one. He shot better here in game two. And Alex Caruso, you talked about Caruso in the game one as well, how he didn't shoot well. He shot okay tonight, and
Mm-hmm.
he did pretty well for them. But the biggest help on that OKC team tonight, that extra push to win this game, goes to Aaron Wiggins. How to, the minutes he had tonight were crucial because he hit
18
some
points
really
in 20
big
18 points in 21
he
minutes,
hit
right?
some big time
Yeah.
shots.
And I'm looking at the box score now. Yeah, they played 8 guys heavily. Played 36 minutes. He played, he got 34 points in 36 minutes. We talked about Holmgren being a bit of a difference maker, but he got all his work done in the first half. And that
Yeah,
was the
that's
tone
fair.
setter, right? 15 points in 28 minutes. What I do see is Shea played less minutes tonight. Obviously,
Yeah.
they had a little bit more leeway to play with. But I'll tell you this: you got Shea at 34, you got Jay Williams, the starter, at 19, and you got Caruso at 20 and 27 minutes, right? And Caruso's man, he's a hard guy for me
No,
to
yeah,
peg. He's
I
a to
understand.
peg because yeah, he plays scrappy defense. He hit some open threes. He got to the bucket. That 20 points. I don't see him scoring 12 points in game three. Just like I told you, Lou Dort. I hoped he would shoot about 5 or 6 more threes. He scored 3 points tonight.
So here
That's the Lou Dort that we
yes,
know.
yeah.
I was
Here's
hoping he would shoot more though.
here's my thing with Caruso, right? So obviously, I do have a little love for Caruso, being a Lakers fan. To put it, if you watch that 2020 season, Caruso was a big part as to why we won. And even when the Lakers got rid of Caruso, I said this is a horrid move. When we lowballed him, I'm like, what are we doing? Caruso was a key reason why we were so successful in that 2020 season. Regardless of what anybody wants to tell me, Caruso was a big part of that. And he's always been a great glue guy, whether that's off the bench, whether he's starting, even in Chicago. Obviously, Chicago didn't get the success they wanted because Lonzo was hurt, but he was always decent in Chicago. And when they made that trade, there's a reason Presti won Executive of the Year because Hartenstein made a big difference tonight with the screens he set and what he does on both sides of the ball. And then Caruso for moments like tonight and what he did for them as well. Those were two key acquisitions, and I said it early in these playoffs, Daryl. I said this is OKC's title to lose, and they just played like it was their title to lose tonight. So once again, big props to the Thunder.
Yep.
And obviously, I am overreacting a bit for the Pacers and how they played tonight. But the only part I don't think I'm overreacting on is the Tyrese bit, and I realize we do see that a little differently here. But for
And that's
me,
fair. And that's fair.
and
That's
for
fair.
me, it's just nobody else was hitting tonight. As much as you want to keep feeding them, it wasn't going. Neesmith kind of found a spark there in the second half, and Turner picked it up. But other than that, I think at that point, Carlisle's got to say, I not maybe not say, but there's got to be some type of click where it's
But
like, I
he's
got to go
got the
score.
green. He's got the green light, man. Carlisle
Yeah,
said he's our best player. He
that's
can do
true.
what he
Yeah, I
wants.
know.
So
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
there. So he Tyrese's job is to get those other 7 and 8 guys right.
involved.
He
Yeah,
can always get right. And I get it. We're gonna disagree with that. We talked about Hardenstein 8-4-3, man. I mean I get hey we love Sam Presti 8-4-3 for a guy who's making 30 million a year. I'm not impressed. If
no,
those
it's
are
fair.
Mal Turner's number, we'd be looking to kick him out of town.
That
So
is
we got to
true.
be careful about crowning guys because they had a decent
Well,
game. Hardenstein sucked on the first game, and he was 8-4-3 this game.
Well, I don't think for
Let's
Hartenstein,
let's let's scale back a little bit.
I don't think it's a matter of his stats. I think it's what he does off the ball for them offensively to free up Shea and to free up those other guys. I That's what I mean because I was that's what I mean when I was saying he had a good game tonight because there was just the little things that he was doing on the off ball to help free up Shea and to help free up these shooters. That's
Well,
what I was referring to, not really the on paper stats.
take the paper away. When he's setting the high screen, is he's not splitting the double
No, I
team.
get what you're saying. Yeah, I get
Shea
what
is
you're
splitting the double
saying.
team. So he was out there, but he couldn't guard Miles either. Because if he
Yeah,
could, he'd have been on Miles. So we got to pump our brakes on giving these guys that much, as Pacer side as well, giving so much love after a game, right?
yeah,
This is a long series. It's 1-1. At worst case scenario, it's 5 games left. At best case scenario, for either team, it's 3 games left. So
yeah, and
you got to look at it and say, listen, Wednesday night comes, you play basketball, right? You look at the film and you see what you did wrong and what the opportunities are. And for me, the Pacers' opportunities are this: you got to get aggressive going to the basket. I'm not saying 43s is a bad thing because there's been times where they shot 43s and no one
they,
said a word. No
yep.
one said a word. 40 is not horrific.
It's
I
when
mean,
you
we're not
miss
talking
them, that's when it's
we're
talked
not
about.
talking Boston
Yeah,
when they have a goal of shooting 55 a game. This is 40, right?
yeah,
So I can live with this. Pascal. Think about this. Pascal. He was 15-7, man, in 30 minutes. He only
yeah,
played 30 minutes, man. It's a 48-minute game, so he sat out 18 minutes of a 48-minute game. So on an average, he played about 7 minutes a quarter.
yeah. I
Okay, it happens.
so if we go back to our predictions here, I've said Pacers would win in six, and I said Thunder would win in seven, and I am still on the belief of that.
Yeah.
When I look at my predictions, because everyone keeps saying Thunder in six, and I'm like, the Thunder aren't going to win Game 6 in Indiana. That's just I'm pretty if it comes to that, I'm pretty sure they're not winning in Indiana, whether Indy's trailing at that point or if they're winning at that point. I'm not giving the Thunder a win in Indiana or at all. That's just kind of how I look at it. If I look at these next two games, I think right now, with the way it looked, with how both games have gone, I could see a split in Indy. Now I could totally be wrong, and I would love to be wrong as a Pacer fan. But if I'm looking at it with the way this Thunder team plays and everything else, right now the most possible scenario for me in my opinion is a split. I don't see the Thunder losing two games, but this favors the Pacers because the Thunder are not the best on the road. They're okay on the road, but they're not the best on the
But
road.
no,
The
no.
Pacers
Listen,
are the better road team in this scenario.
they've been the best team all year long, and so you just got to give them that. But here's the thing: so if we're doing the math, the Pacers, haven't won a game 3, and OKC hasn't lost 2 in a row, and all this. Well, guess what? If that's the case, Pacers win in 7. Win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. I mean, if we're gonna do the math like that, let's just fast forward to Game 7 and call it a day, right? But
Yeah,
that's why you play the game. I just think that Wednesday night's game is going to be really important for the Pacers and their psyche. They're a big underdog still. They were 11.5 point dogs tonight, man.
Yeah.
11.5 point dogs tonight. So they'll be probably 4, 3.5, 4, 5 point dogs on Wednesday night.
Yep.
But being a dog doesn't matter. What do you do when you come into that game? Are you ready to play?
Yep.
And to your point, if Tyrese starts out like in game 4 against New York, I say, hey, Pacers going to be up 2-1. But if he's looking to get guys continually involved in everything, it's going to be a dogfight. And I still say 2-1 Pacers. But you got to get those other guys involved.
No,
If he decides
I
to
don't
take
disagree.
it upon himself, I don't like that.
I don't disagree with you.
The Pacers
And
lose.
I'm not asking him to take over and put up 30. I'm asking him to get himself warmed up a little earlier because there was just moments tonight where he took shots and didn't make them, and then he wouldn't shoot again for another 5-6 minutes.
Well,
And
you
that's
remember the heat check shot at the logo. He had that. Then those two. It was really two over and back. They didn't call the first one, but they called the second one. That's time and circumstance, right? It's almost like he was like, well, he wasn't into what was going on. As the point guard, as a leader of the team, you don't realize how close you are to the timeline. Little things like that just seem like there may have been a little bit of a discord with
yeah.
regard to
Yeah.
him. But I'll take that discord. I'll take the discord. He didn't play his best game. Okay.
All right.
Well, he's got an opportunity on Wednesday. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Wednesday will be interesting for sure. Once again, I guess this will be linked up with our 10th episode. We're coming. Today's recordings actually mark our
Hey,
10th episode of the Game Time podcast. I forgot to say
Pacer
that
Nation,
today.
Pacer Nation, let's go.
So I want to give a big thanks to everybody who has shown us support. We are close to 100 subscribers. We're 5 away from 80 subscribers. So if you can sub to the pod, these videos specifically, the after finals reaction games, our videos have done really well. So I'm excited when we get to the NFL and we can recap a week's worth of that.
It's gonna be good stuff, man. It's gonna be good stuff.
We're gonna have a good time. And not only that, I do want to get like a top 10 point guards list out at some point too.
We've been talking about this for a while now.
Before the finals ends, yeah.
Is it before? So I'm guessing probably within the next week then or so. Because if you think about it, Game 3 is on Wednesday.
4 is on Friday. Friday.
4 is it Friday or is it Saturday?
It's Friday, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was two days between.
They add an extra day when they're going to the next city.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, then okay, we're looking at Friday, and then they're definitely not going to play again Sunday, so it'll be on Monday.
Yeah.
So it won't be on Father's Day. It'll be the day after Father's
We got a chance to. I think we do the top 10 point guards on Sunday. With all the point guards that were playing in the playoffs with Brunson, I think it would be a good video to get put out. Especially when I put Luka at 2. You seem to disagree with me there. So, yeah. But you know what? Darren disagreed with me as well on that. He thought Curry was 2. So it's gonna be a fun argument.
It's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun, man.
I'm ready to defend my list. There's gonna be some changes and everything.
We have to, and this isn't scripted, by the way. This is organic, right?
All we do is look at stats and watch the game. That's it.
That's important, and we all have our biases, right? We have our biases, the guys we like, guys we don't like, and that's okay. That's a good thing for us, right? So because other people getting involved, putting it in the chats, I disagree. How the hell does Daryl say he would take a prime KD over a prime Curry? What's wrong with that guy, right? How dumb are you to take KD over Curry? All those type of things. Those things matter, right? Everybody's got their biases, and their feelings. So I like that.
No, it's gonna be an interesting series. I mean, it wasn't gonna be easy. Obviously, I wasn't expecting it to be easy. It's crazy just because Game 1, I didn't think we were gonna win. Game 2, I was pretty confident heading into tonight. I'm like, all right, Tyrese and Pad. I think that's why I'm more frustrated tonight. Is in my mind, I said, all right, they didn't play well Game 1. They were saying, oh, we haven't even played our best yet. I thought tonight Pascal was gonna give us 25. Tyrese was going to give us 20 and 11. I think that's why I was more frustrated, right?
So you had an expectation.
I did have it
that we didn't talk about on our call earlier today.
Tonight,
now it's coming out.
Tonight, I did have more of whereas in Game 1, I was like, okay, we may lose here, right? Feel out game. everything else, and we won. And
No,
so
you didn't think you didn't say fill out. You
I
said
said knockout. That's fair. But look, but tonight
I love it, man.
I was like I was of the thought of this is gonna be a good game. Chet's gonna play
Yeah.
well. Shai's gonna play well. It's gonna be a good game. And then well, it wasn't that good of a game, but it's all right.
I'm gonna call it now. Miles Turner will score 25 points on Wednesday night. He will score 25 points, and he's going to carry the Pacers to a game 3 victory. But I got before we let go, man. I got to rehash our interview earlier today, man.
Yep.
Coach texted me earlier, man, and we had some conversation back and forth. I'm gonna tell you this, man. He is definitely going to be a staple on our show. Yes, I want the Pacers to win. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But man, we're playing with, as they say, house money. But man, it's been such a whirlwind tour. People are messaging me saying, "Man, I saw your video. I saw your video. This is you all are nice yin and yang." And then with Coach responding like he did to me today via text, it's man, it works.
We
man.
can't.
It definitely works.
And this video will go out literally tonight. Before the Hester interview. The Hester interview, there's 2 parts, and then he's actually there on the 3rd part with the NBA rumors and stuff. But that first part will either be out Monday or Tuesday, with the next part probably coming out the next day. I haven't decided on that yet, but when you guys do get the chance, you guys are gonna love. If you like the Coach Scott Moore interview, which is now over 100 views, thank you guys so much for that support. If you liked that interview, you're gonna love the Coach Hester interview, because not only that, we have Ramon in this one, and they have a nice little back and forth.
You know, and I told Ramon on the side too, man. I said you got that parent playbook, man. You got to leverage that thing, man. That's huge. That's huge. Yeah, that's all good, man. But back to our boys, as you see behind me there. It's all day.
And you know what? You know what's the worst part is? Hold on. I've got a Pacer shirt on tonight. I got my Run DMC. That's how confident I was tonight, Daryl. I put one on tonight. I put a Pacer shirt on tonight. Listen,
do not wear that shirt again the rest of the series.
I'm never wearing.
Do not.
I may put on the Reggie shirt that I have, the one that I wore to the draft night. This is the first time I've ever worn this shirt. I have never put this shirt on. I have a Halliburton shirt too. Haven't worn it yet.
Speaking of draft, we'll probably do that again.
Okay.
Since I'll be in town, so we'll probably do that again. So we'll touch base on that as well too. But again, 1-1. No one even thought that the Pacers would even be close to winning one game. So now let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Wednesday night will be the movie.
We will see what happens. But folks, that is going to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in to our after game reactions here of Game 2 of the NBA Finals. We will see you guys not only for the Coach Hester interview, but Game 3 of the NBA Finals on Wednesday. We'll see you guys very, very soon.